So the question that was just asked was, what about proteins? Do I need to eat more of those since I'm not consuming carbs? The answer is no, you don't. But you do need proteins. They're essential. You need fat. It's essential. Carbs are not essential. Right? Everyone in the audience who's read the China study or a lot of the studies that have touted carbohydrates as being really important, they're important. They're a source of energy, definitely, but they're not essential. So let's talk about how much protein do you need. Most people, you can probably say about a gram per kilogram, or 1 gram for every 2.2 pounds. So that's a pretty rough idea for most people. That's a little bit on the high side, but if you're probably listening to this, you're probably into exercising, and you can probably do well with that extra protein. I'm going to say that here's the problem with too much protein. The protein is going to eventually turn into carbohydrate. If you're eating too much protein, it turns into carbohydrate. And it's a lot of work to eat protein. And you'll see metabolically, you'll see people talking about this as if it's a good thing. In other words, protein is more metabolic. It takes more energy to use up protein. So in a sense, they're saying, hey, if you have protein in your body, it takes more energy to digest it. But what that means is, I look at that not in a good way. So in a sense, your body has a lot of work to do when you put protein in. It's a lot of energy that's sucking the life out of you when you eat too much protein. So in a sense, think of it that way. They've tried to spin it as, as calories in, calories out. But metabolically, you have to use up a lot of energy to turn that protein into something useful, to turn it into ATP production. So in general, some of it spills over into carbs, which again will spike your insulin if you're eating too much. And it's very tiring to eat protein. Your body's going to be, again, more likely to want to go lay on the couch. And you're talking about losing weight, are all calories created equal? Well, if that were true, that would mean that your response would be independent from the nutrient composition. So whether or not it was fat or carbs or protein, it wouldn't matter. Like, you could put it in there, it's all the same, right? Well, it's not the same. We know that. I mean, all you have to do is look. When you eat proteins, it goes in one direction. If you eat fat, it goes in another. If you eat carbs, it goes in another direction. They're obviously not the same. So we're trying to lump them in as calorie. 1 calorie means the same. That's totally not true. I wish we'd stop having that conversation. And then also, the response varies amongst different individuals. For instance, if you're already overweight, and there's studies showing this, carbs tend to make fat people fatter. So if you already feel a little heavy, you eat a lot of carbs, carbs will make fat people fatter. Okay, so if you're already feeling overweight, that's a good way to continue on the same process. And think about this: if we have animals, right? If you feed your animal all day long, they're going to have a tendency to gain weight. If you have cattle, we're in Texas. I have a ranch. I've had cattle. And don't call it a farm, by the way. They're ranches here in Texas. And if you want the cows to get the market, you feed them all day long. You try to keep them fed and feed them lots of corn and other things like that, and just keep it going, and they're going to get fat. Don't limit their food intake. So in general, if you want to look at things in this way, keep it simple in your mind. They're not all equal. And if the emphasis is on weight reduction, do this product, do it on a relatively higher fat diet. Don't overemphasize protein, because it's going to spill over into carbohydrates, and the protein is tiring. So if you want to be more tired, eat a lot of protein. Okay, so I think that's much as I want to say on that topic.